In this video, I will discuss some electrostatics problems from previous question papers of JEE Main. This is the first question. Let there be a spherically symmetric charge distribution with charge density varying as rho r equal to rho naught into 5 by 4 minus r by r up to r equal to capital R and rho r equal to 0 for r greater than r, where r is the distance from the origin. The electric field at a distance r less than capital R from the origin is given by. This problem has got spherical symmetry. The charge density depends only on the radial distance r and not on the direction. So this problem can be solved by using Gauss's law. We can also use a standard result that of a spherical shell. For a spherical shell, the electric field inside the spherical shell is 0, and for outside of the spherical shell, it's as if the full charge of the shell is located at the center of the shell as a point charge. You can pause and attempt this question. So this is the sphere of radius capital R. To find electric field at a distance r, it's given as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught QR divided by r square, where QR is a total charge present inside of the sphere of radius r. The charge which is present here will not contribute to the electric field here. That can be understood as this region can be thought of as made up of many concentric spherical shells, and inside of a spherical shell the electric field contribution of the shell is 0. So all these shells here will not contribute to the electric field here, and the shells which are inside, it's as if the full charge of the shell is concentrated at this center point. So this full charge we can consider the center point as a point charge and use that to find the electric field here, and this expression is using that idea, and we have to find the charge inside this sphere of radius r. So for that we can take a shell of radius r, and the volume of the shell will be 4 pi r square into dr, and the charge is rho. So this is the total charge of the spherical shell, and to get the total charge inside this radius r, you have to integrate from 0 to r, and the expression for rho is given in the question, and doing the simple integration we get the expression for QR as this one, and using that in this first expression we get electric field as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught 1 by 4 epsilon naught into rho naught into r into 5 by 3 minus r by r. Correct option is option 3. So if you consider the extreme case of r being 0, electric field will be 0. The electric field in the center of a spherically symmetric charge distribution will be 0. This can be obtained by Gauss's law, and also using this idea of a spherical shell where the electric field inside the spherical shell is 0. So for a point r equal to 0, it's inside of all spherical shells, so the electric field contribution for all the shells will be 0, and that should be got from this expression. So in this expression, if you put r equal to 0, the electric field is 0. This is the next question. Two identical charge spheres are suspended by strings of equal lengths. The strings make an angle 30 with each other. When suspended in a liquid of density 0.8 gram per centimeter cube, the angle remains the same if the density of material of sphere is 1.6 gram per centimeter cube. The dielectric constant of liquid is. So there will be an electrostatic repulsive force between the two spheres because they are like charge, and when it is suspended in liquid, there will be an additional buoyancy force. So to draw the free body diagram of this sphere, the forces acting will be its weight mg, and since it's connected to a string, there will be a tension force, and there will be electrostatic repulsive force and a buoyancy force. You can pause and attempt this question. So this is the first situation. The forces acting on the sphere are its weight mg, tension T, the electrostatic repulsive force F, and it makes an angle theta. And when it is suspended in a liquid, the electrostatic repulsive force is changed to F1 because the electric field depends on the dielectric medium, and there will be additional buoyancy force. So to write the force balance equation, in the first case we get F equal to T cos theta in the horizontal direction, and in the vertical direction the weight mg is balanced by T sin theta. In the second case, the electrostatic repulsive force F1 is balanced by T1 cos theta. The tension in the string will change to T1, but the angle is same, and in the vertical direction the downward force is mg minus Fb, that will be equal to T1 sin theta. So you have to eliminate the tensions and the angle theta. So one way to do is, if you divide this equation by this equation, we get mg by F as tan theta. Similarly, if you divide this by this, we get mg minus Fb divided by F1 as tan theta, and equating those two we get mg by F equal to mg minus Fb by F1. So this can be rewritten as F1 by F equal to 1 minus Fb by mg, and the electrostatic repulsive force is given by Coulomb's law, 1 by 4 pi k epsilon naught into q square by r square. So F1 by F is 1 by k, and buoyancy force is the weight of the liquid that is displaced, that is volume into density of the liquid, and weight of the sphere is volume into density of sphere. So using the values we get the dielectric constant K as 2. Correct option is option 4. The basic idea that is used is the electric field in dielectric medium reduces by a factor 1 by K. So when the electric field reduces by a factor 1 by K, this electrostatic repulsion will reduce, so the sphere will try to come closer, but there is a buoyancy force which will balance that, and the dielectric constant corresponding to that balance is 2. This is the next question. Two identical charged spheres suspended from a common point by two massless string of length L are initially at a distance d, and d is much smaller than L, apart because of their mutual repulsion. The charge begins to leak from both the spheres at a constant rate. As a result, the charge approach each other with velocity v. Then, as a function of distance x between them, velocity varies as x raised to the power half, option 2 as x, option 3 velocity is proportional to x raised to the minus half, option 4 velocity is proportional to x raised to the power minus 1. So the force between the spheres will be the repulsive force, and the repulsive force will go down because the charge is leaking. Because of that, it will start approaching each other with some velocity. So you have to figure out the forces acting on the sphere and solve the problem. You can pause and attempt this question. So the forces acting on the sphere are its weight mg, tension of the string, and the string is making an angle theta say, and there is the electrostatic repulsive force, and since the charge is leaking, this force will keep on decreasing, because of it will acquire a velocity in this direction, and the separation between the spheres is x and the length of the string is L. So adding the force balance equation, in the horizontal direction we get T cos theta is equal to F, vertical direction T sin theta equal to mg. So dividing we can get rid of the tension, so tan theta is mg by F, and theta is this angle, and tan theta is opposite side, which is this height, the vertical distance. Tan theta is this vertical distance. This length is L, and this horizontal distance is x by 2. So this length is square root of L square divided minus x by 2 square. And we have to use the approximation that x is much smaller than L. The maximum value of x is d, and after that it will keep on decreasing. D itself is much smaller than L, so x is also much smaller than L. So this term can be neglected. So from this we get q square as proportional to x cube. So q goes as x raised to the power 3 by 2. If you differentiate with respect to time, we get q dot as 3 by 2 x raised to the power half into x dot, and x dot is the velocity. So from this we get velocity is proportional as x raised to the power minus half. So the correct option is option 3. While solving this, we have made an assumption that this acceleration of this thing is very small. Actually, this force balance equation is not strictly valid, because since the velocity is changing, there is some acceleration. So the correct force balance equation will be T cos theta minus F will be equal to m into ax, and in the vertical direction will be mg minus T sin theta equal to m into ay. But that will make the problem complicated. So we are making the assumption this acceleration is very small. So it's as if the force is in balance. This is the next question. The electrostatic potential inside a charged spherical ball is given by phi equal to a r square plus b, where r is the distance from the center, a and b are constant. The charge density inside the ball is. So here the potential, electrostatic potential, is function of only r. So the problem has got spherical symmetry. So we can use Gauss's law to solve this problem. We can also use that result that for a spherical shell of charge, the electric field inside is 0 and outside is that of a point charge located at the center. We can pause and attempt this question. Electric field is related to the potential as its negative gradient. Here the potential is dependent only on r. So if we differentiate, we get minus 2 ar and the direction will be r cap. So using Gauss's law, by taking Gaussian surface of radius r, we get integral E dot ds as q in r. This is charge present inside the sphere of radius r divided by epsilon naught. This is Gauss's law, and E at all the points on the Gaussian surface is uniform, so it can come out of the integral sign, and it's a particular location r, so it's er. So integral ds is the total surface area of the sphere, which is 4 pi r square, and charge present inside this radius r is density into the volume. Volume is 4 by 3 pi r cube by epsilon naught. So from this we get the density rho as minus 6a epsilon naught. Correct option is option 2. While solving this, we have made an assumption that the charge density is uniform. So that is why the total charge density into the volume. If you don't make that assumption, it will be difficult to solve this problem. This is the next question. Two positive charges of magnitude q are placed at ends of a side 1 of a square of side 2a. Two negative charges of same magnitude are kept at the other corners. Starting from rest, if a charge capital Q moves from middle of side 1 to the center of square, its kinetic energy at center of square is. This problem can be solved by energy conservation. There are two forms of energy in this problem. One is electrostatic potential energy, and the second one is the kinetic energy. So the initial total energy should be equal to the final total energy. You can pause and attempt this question. So initially capital Q is located here and it's moving here, and this is the final position of capital Q. Initially it's at rest, and when it reaches here, it will acquire some kinetic energy. So the gain in kinetic energy should come from loss in electrostatic potential energy. Gain in kinetic energy is final kinetic energy minus initial kinetic energy, which is 0, and in the final position the electrostatic potential energy is 0, because the electrostatic potential is given by 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught product of the charges divided by the distance. So here there are equal number of positive and negative charges under the same distance. So the final electrostatic potential energy is 0, and the initial electrostatic potential energy is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught product of the charges divided by the distance. So it's capital Q to small q divided by this distance a, and because of this minus q, it will be capital Q minus q divided by this distance, and that distance can be called by Pythagoras theorem. This side is 2a and this length is a, So this is square root of 2a square plus a square, so that is root 5a. So root 5a, and there are two negative q's and there is a second positive q here, so it will be into 2. So from this we get the final kinetic energy of this expression. So the correct option is option 1. This is the next question. This question has statement 1 and statement 2. Of the 4 choices given after the statements, choose the one that best describes the 2 statements. An insulating solid sphere of radius r has uniformly positive charge density rho. As a result of this uniform charge distribution, there is a finite value of electric potential at the center of the sphere, at the surface of the sphere, and also at a point outside of the sphere. The electric potential at infinity is 0. Statement 1. When a charge q is taken from center to the surface of the sphere, its potential energy changes by. Statement 2. The electric field at a distance r, where r is less than capital R, from the center of the sphere is rho r by 3 epsilon naught. 4 options are given. You have to check whether the statements are true or false and whether they are related. You can pause and attempt this question. So the statement 2 talks about electric field inside. So that can be found by using Gauss's law, or we can use the standard result that inside of a spherical shell the electric field is 0 and outside of a spherical shell the electric field is therefore point charge located at the center. So at a distance r, the charge which is present between r and this capital R will not contribute, and only the charge which is inside will contribute, and the full charge can be considered as a point charge at the center. So electric field at a distance small r is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. The charge is present inside this small r divided by r square, and charge is present inside is 4 by 3 pi r cube into density, and r cube will cancel with this r square and give r. So the electric field inside is rho r by 3 epsilon naught. The direction is radial direction. The statement 2 is true. Statement 1. The potential energy change will be the work done on the charge, so that is force dot ds. Force is q into E and displacement is dot dr. The direction of electric field is radially outward, so the angle between E and dr is 0, so it will be q into d into dr, and the expression for electric field is this one, rho r by 3 epsilon naught. So using that we get the value of work done as this one, so which is different from the one which is mentioned in the statement 1. So statement 1 is false. Correct option is option 4. This is the next question. In a uniformly charged sphere of total charge q and radius capital R, the electric field E is plotted as a function of distance from the center. The graph would correspond to the above will be. This is a standard question. So since this problem has got spherical symmetry, we can use Gauss's law to solve this problem, or we can use the standard result that electric field due to a spherical shell is 0 inside, and for points outside it's as if it's a point charge located at the center. You can pause and run this question. So for points outside of this charge distribution, it's equivalent to point charge located at the center, so the electric field will go as 1 by r square. And for points inside, it's as if it's a point charge located at the center, but the amount of charge will be the charge present inside this sphere of radius small r. So that charge will be 4 by 3 r cube into the density, charge density, and since it's a uniform charge density, the charge density will be q divided by the total volume. So the electric field will be this charge divided by the distance square. So r cube will cancel with r square and give r. So electric field will go linearly as r. Correct option is option 4. This is the next question. Two charges equal to q are kept at x equal to minus a and x equal to a on the x-axis. A particle of mass m and charge q naught equal to q by 2 is placed at the origin. If Q0 is given a small displacement y much less than a along the y-axis, the net force acting on the particle is proportional to. So between Q0 by 2 and the other Q's, there will be a repulsive force because they are like charges, and the net repulsive force will be in the y direction. So you have to use the Coulomb's law to get the force and take the components. You can pause and attempt this question. So the charge Q by 2 is here, and there will be a repulsive force because of this Q in this direction, and because this Q will be in this direction, and both the forces will be equal and make a same angle theta. So the horizontal component, one will be in the right, one will be in the left, that will be cancelled. So the net force will be in the vertical direction, and there will be 2F cos theta, and will be the positive y-axis. And F is given by Coulomb's law, K into product of the charges divided by the distance. So this distance is a square plus y square, and cos theta, this angle is theta, so this angle is also theta, and this angle is also theta. So cos theta is this distance, that is y, divided by hypotenuse, that is square root of a square plus y square. So this is proportional to, if you leave out the constants, the variable is y divided by a square plus y square is over 3 by 2, and we have to use the approximation that y is much smaller compared to a. So this is approximately y. So the net force is proportional to y. Correct option is option 1. So in this question, instead of having Q by 2, if you have minus Q by 2, then there will be an attractive force. So the force will be towards minus y direction. So this force will try to bring back this minus Q by 2 towards the origin. The negative sign of the force signifies that the force is towards the origin, and the particle will execute in SHM because the force is proportional to the displacement. So instead of Q by 2, if you have minus Q by 2, the direction of this F will reverse. So it will be a net attractive force in this direction. So this force will try to pull this minus Q by 2 towards the origin, and the particle will execute in SHM because under the approximation that y is much smaller than a, the force is proportional to the displacement, and that is the condition for SHM. This is the next question. A charge Q is uniformly distributed over a long rod AB of length L as shown in the figure. The electric potential at point O at a distance L from main A is. This is a simple problem. We have to take a small element of this rod, and this small element is an infinitesimal element. It acts as a point charge. So electric field due to a point charge, we know the formula, and using that, if we integrate the electric field due to the element over the length of this rod, we will get the electric field due to the full rod. You can pause and attempt this question. So this is a rod, and you take a small element of infinitesimal length dx. So the electric potential due to this small element is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into the charge, which is lambda into dx, where lambda is the linear charge density, and the distance of this charge is x. And to get the total potential of this entire rod, you have to integrate this thing from x equal to L to 2L. So doing this integration, we get the potential to this full rod as Q by L divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into ln 2. Correct option is option 4. The questions that are solved in this video are from 21 to 29. I also take doubt solving sessions for physics and math subjects of GE and NEET. So if you are interested, you can contact me. This is my WhatsApp number. Fees is nominal, it's 100 rupees per hour.